with these microphones. Well, not the only issue, but where I put my drink. Because I can't put it there.
Yeah, you need like a drink coaster. A drink like a cozy.
We
You
should
can
get one of those
beer
little
hats.
guys. No, I was thinking, those little...
I know we're supposed to be on air, Michael. It's okay. We're
Oh,
talking about drinks.
hey, there we are. Hey, everybody. Am I looking at the right camera? I am now.
It's slightly past 10 a.m.
Yes. Here we are, Gateway Office Hours in the Gateway headquarters. It is late on a Friday. This is our Hardware is Hard episode 18. However, we're now retitling it to Redemption.
Or broadcasting is hard. Can we?
Broadcasting is hard.
Hardware. There's hardware involved in broadcasting.
We had a little snafu this morning.
Yeah.
We had one of our incredible mentors on, Madeline Duva. Just a great mind, great technologist. Been in the industry for years. I probably shouldn't say exactly how many. She would probably get mad.
She did not answer that question directly when we asked her,
Yeah.
so I think that's a signal.
Right.
It was probably the best episode we've ever. Not to make Michael feel bad. It's probably the best episode.
Also, not to point fingers about whose fault it was.
I didn't mean that. not to make random person feel bad. No, I think it was probably the best episode we've ever done.
Yeah.
It was really good.
And I would say the set's starting to look pretty good.
That's okay. We had some technical fuck ups because hardware is hard. But she had some great advice, and I don't mean to steal your thunder. Do your thing. Say your thing.
It's all right.
You have a whole intro going.
We're well caffeinated with our yerba mates.
We decided to broadcast late because we want to recap what she said, because she said some really great things, and you missed them because we didn't broadcast. Actually, we did broadcast a still image for an hour, which was awesome. It was a good still image, though, really.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So we're going to just talk about what we talked about, at least so people can hear some of her advice.
Yeah. Before we jump into that, I just wanted to remind people who haven't heard, or remind people who have heard, I guess, we have our 1-year anniversary party next Friday. It is our Speakeasy theme, same theme that we threw last year when we launched Gateway. We're really excited. There's already about 100 people signed up. All the proceeds are going to SSDP. And our lovely friends over at Magnolia is sponsoring the event. So,
yay! Thank you, Debbie. We love you
love
anyway,
you
and it's awesome that you're sponsoring.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. So,
also, wait, if anyone knows, here, camera over here. See, my other camera. Wait.
All right,
my cam. See, all right. If anyone works for this company, you should sponsor us.
We are personally drinking 2 cases a week right now.
Yes. And if we sound a little bit crazy like we're on Coke, we're not on Coke. We're just on a lot of caffeine. So.
All right. You can reach us on the Twitter and the Instagrams at GTWI Inc. If you want to just shoot us an email, it's ask@gtwi.co. We are going to go ahead and jump into what we discussed with Madeline. But really quick, if we could get the wide cam, I just wanted to go over really quick. Madeline, while not being in the industry, has worked on some relatively related products.
Yeah, totally.
This device that I have up on the screen behind Carter's head is actually it's a device that's loaded with sensors. It can communicate with an app in your phone. Essentially, it tells you how to grow a better plant. It tells you about the nutrients and the water content and stuff like that, right? And
yeah, Plant Sense, was that the company?
Yeah, Plant Sense.
And then she got acquired by Parrot.
Right.
Yeah.
The important thing here is that this technology was actually developed about 8 years ago. They started in 2008. And we have many companies approaching us and pitching this idea to us. And they're getting upset when we're saying, well, it's not really an investable idea at this point for us. And there's many things that go into that, but one of the things is they aren't recognizing that this technology has been around and well built for many years now.
Right.
So,
doing something cannabis specific that this doesn't do, yeah, sure. Yeah. But
so if you're doing this, do your homework, understand who's in the industry and how you're going to do it better. Like we said, she sold it to this awesome company. I don't know if you've ever played with one of these drones. They're a lot of fun. This isn't a drone podcast, so I'm going to keep going. And then she's also working with this magical cooking scale that's connected to a beautiful app.
It's called Drop.
It's called Drop. We talked a lot about that, but we'll go ahead and gloss over it.
Yep.
I just know that some people use scales in this industry. Might be applicable.
Yeah, no, it's great for baking, right? Because
Yeah.
when you're baking, one of her points was that baking was a science, not an art, and measuring by volume is not the right way to get repeatable results. You need to do it by weight and the drop. Basically, we have one at home, so I can talk about it.
Go
It's
ahead.
like, I have my issues with it. One of the one it doesn't order food for me online and have it delivered. You have to actually bake when you have a drop, but it's a scale. You stick a bowl on it. It zeroizes the bowl. It's connected by I think via Bluetooth or whatever, maybe Wi-Fi to your iPad or whatever. And you have a recipe, and it just says like, okay, put the bowl on. Puts the bowl on. Okay, like grab the flour and start pouring. And you grab the flour and start pouring, and it like shows you a little. This thing goes up, and it says, okay, stop. Okay, great. Now grab the sugar or whatever it is, the next ingredient, and start pouring. And it's just weighing your ingredients, and it makes it super easy for people like me who are disasters in the kitchen. So that's another cool
Yeah.
Madeline. Madeline is she has a lot of hardware experience, and we brought her in partly because we have 3 hardware companies this cohort.
We do.
Which we had 0 last cohort. So
That's right. Yeah. And what we are finding is that we are indeed right. Hardware is, well, not easy.
Hardware's hard. In fact, 2 of our companies are leaving on Sunday to go for a 3-week tour to China.
3 weeks.
Yeah, they're starting in Hong Kong, and then they're going to manufacturing in Shenzhen and some other places.
I'd like to say we're going to miss them.
I love you, Jason and Josh.
We are going to miss you guys. I'm
we'll
just
miss
kidding.
Just come back with your stuff done.
Yes.
That's what we want.
Stuff done. Accelerate yourselves.
Yeah.
What I would like to point out in this picture, you have a full screen here. Only about a third of it is taken up by the hardware. The other focal point of this is the software. And software has become a huge part of hardware. And what Madeline imparted on us is that you get your device done, and you're not even to the starting line at that point, right? You have a long ways to go. In refining the device, you get a first prototype made. You're probably going to require a second or a third. Right. And then you're getting to design for manufacturing and production and all this kind of stuff. But what is not being addressed in all of that is the fact that a lot of times there's a companion software, or it's an IoT devices that linking up with other things. There's firmware to be considered. And I mean, not to overwhelm everyone, but it's not as easy as just getting something 3D printed and to market.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of her points was the UI and the software component, and the fact that like even though your hardware might be awesome, people's first experience is also or is often not even necessarily the hardware. It might even be the unpackaging and installing. And so we used an example of the Nest Cam, right? The Nest Cam, we love the Nest Cams. We have them here, but hardware-wise, there are better cams, cheaper, available from Chinese manufacturers. The reason that they're not popular is they're not as easy to install. The UI is not as good, and all that is just software.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so even just having the best hardware isn't enough. You really need to think about the whole customer experience.
Right.
And I think we kind of concluded, you start with customer development just like any other product.
Sure. So let's get to that. We'll kind of work through the natural progression of the discussion by kind of talking about the progression of a startup. So when you're starting, you don't necessarily go out and build whatever's in your head. You're actually going to go out and do customer development. And I think we've beaten this horse to a pulp, like on other shows that we've done. But I think it, as it pertains to hardware, we should say it again. It's don't build. Get out there and talk to people and find out who your customer is.
Don't pay. Yeah, I mean, don't pay someone to go build something, right? Yeah.
Don't pay someone. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, case in point. So we mentioned the 3 hardware startups we have. 2 of them are going to China because they've already built prototypes and they're kind of ready to go see what that first run manufacturing would be.
Sure.
And so I think they've already maybe learned the lesson that building a prototype doesn't mean you're really close to selling anything. So they are going to figure out, make some design tweaks, do some DFM work and that kind of stuff. But one of our companies just went to Home Depot and started putting together a prototype himself, got a Raspberry Pi and the other equipment he needed at Home Depot. And that's really, that kind of stuff either Home Depoting it or 3D printing it or doing something on the cheap is super super important with hardware. A lot of people who are first time hardware founders feel like, oh, I have a SolidWorks file or some CAD files or whatever, and I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
And that's never the case.
Yeah.
And there's even, there's even if it worked out beautifully, it doesn't necessarily even mean it's manufacturable. And so she was recommending this kind of intermediate step of like first a prototype and then even like a first run and then more tweaks after that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we got a very real experience of it just today, actually, when our friend Wes Martin was here.
Oh, yeah.
He's working on this vaporization device, and he's like, hey, come upstairs and check it out. And yeah, the thing was a little ugly. It's like a little tin box, and it's got a rubber hose coming out of it, but my God, it works.
Right. The core functionality of it was awesome.
Yeah.
Right. And so beautifying it is step 2.
It seems like that would be the easier part, right?
Yeah.
This is actually pretty impressive. You can go and show that to an investor and explain to them why it's better than something else.
And investors understand if you get the core function right, they understand that you can make things pretty with money.
Yeah.
That's not a...
Hopefully we're not revealing too much. Sorry, Wes. But yeah, so customer development, hobble together a prototype, Home Depot style.
Right.
And then go do more customer development probably, right? Really understand what your form factor is, who's actually going to be using this, and seeing if you're in the right track. And then maybe you're getting to that next stage where you're thinking about design, thinking about production.
Right. And even having a... I actually don't know if you were in the room today when Josh and I were talking about this, but right, there's having a prototype that's actually something that can be used in the field, right? That can be like the actual customer would actually go use it, right? Because a lot of people have prototypes that are kind of janky. It's like, well, hold this thing here and plug this in, and it kind of works like this, and like you can see it.
I think he was saying like lab ready versus field test ready.
Yeah, field. That's the word. Thank you. Field test ready, and that's important because one of the scary things about hardware is that it's expensive, and if you're an investor and you're not super familiar with the use case, it's one of the biggest risks is that you can look at it and you can say, yeah, that makes sense. I can see intuitively why that makes sense. I like what you're doing. You're a good founder, whatever. But there's this still risk in the back of your mind. It's like, well, will people actually like it and use it, right? And to be able to say, yeah, I manufactured 5 of them and they are using them and they want more, and it's like, okay, great. So the customers actually like it, which is slightly different than like I showed them my crappy prototype and they said, yeah, if it works the way you say, I would like it.
Yeah. That's interesting. So let's actually jump into investment a little bit. I think this has largely been work. I think people are working away from this, but a lot of new time hardware founders will be like, oh, I'm going to design something, throw it on Kickstarter, and then I'll go make it. I think we've actually talked about like the success rate of those campaigns and how many products actually come to fruition, and even after that come to fruition in a timely manner to where you can actually use the product.
Madeline was talking about like burning your customers even if you do eventually ship.
Yeah.
Not communicating well about the manufacturing difficulties you're having and the time frame problems, but B, you lost your beautiful screen.
Yeah, I know.
But B,
just turn it off.
not really understanding all the complexities and overestimating how easy it is to actually ship the product. So again, it's like, oh, look, I have some SolidWorks files and I'm going to start a Kickstarter campaign and then go manufacture it. And it's like, actually, it's not really how it works. It would be better, although more capital intensive, it would be better to actually have something already and then start a Kickstarter campaign.
Right.
Even if that's just, I have a janky prototype and then I've worked with the factory and they've done some DFM work and they're ready to make it, and like I kind of know the path and I know that it's manufacturable. I know where it's going to be manufactured. I know who's going to manufacture it.
Yeah.
I've maybe even done 1 or 2. I've got some, early prototypes. that's a much better stage to be.
It's almost thinking of it as like your first sales channel, right?
Yeah.
Like if you have everything ready up to a certain point, and then you're like, okay, I'm ready to go to market. Maybe I don't have a whole stock of them yet, but I'm ready to go.
Right.
And then you can use it. It's like, oh, our first 1,000 sales, first 1,000,000 sales.
Yeah. And I feel like this kind of leads. I don't want to rush through our topics, but we are just kind of giving a gloss over of what happened this morning.
Yeah.
It kind of leads to the next topic, which is where to manufacture.
Mm-hmm.
And she was a big advocate of not worrying about your BOM, and even if it's really expensive now.
Can you explain to what a BOM
Sorry,
is?
your bill of materials.
Okay.
Not worrying about like your bill of material costs originally, because you just need, even if you're not really making money on the first few, you need to really refine it and think of it more as software that's going to need to be refined, right? And so you do that. Maybe you do that in the U.S., right? You do it somewhere where you can be there, you can be working with them as there's problems in that first run, really correcting things and fixing things, and then after you've got it where you want it, then you worry about lowering your fully landed cost, which includes your bill of materials and shipping and everything else, and
which
and
could
that's,
include going to China and
right. It could be China. She was pointing out that if it's a large product, China maybe is not feasible because of shipping costs. So maybe you go to Mexico, or somewhere where it's easier to ship. But she was not an advocate for going to China to do your very first prototypes if you're not willing to stay there and be there while they're doing it. And so
the boots on the ground concept is really interesting, and there are certain programs and incubators, so to speak, that are being started to kind of fill this gap, right? It's
well, I mean, there's ones that already exist, right? So there's like Highway 1, which does a little bit of this, but yes, I think we talked about some vague thing that Madeline and I both had heard of, but neither of us had any details about Indiegogo doing something here. But there is a real need for that. I think there's a need for someone with manufacturing capability and experience and money to come in at a very early stage with the founder who has maybe done some customer development, has maybe a working model, even if it's just SolidWorks. Right, they've got some kind of virtual prototype,
right,
and help them, almost like an incubator or almost like an early stage VC, help them by saying like, okay, taking a look at it and first deciding whether this is even feasible, and if it is, saying, okay, we're going to help you get it to the point where it's actually manufacturable, and then we'll help you with your Kickstarter campaign and help you do everything else. And I think if it's not something that it requires just money. Like if you're just an investor, you don't have the capability to do that because you need the expertise there. But if you've got that expertise, I think there's a market for that kind of a company. Or that
totally,
kind of
and it would be super easy for those types of organizations to link up with the next level, right? Going over to China and having that relationship that you can trust.
Right. Which is why you're starting to see, I think you are starting to see more Chinese manufacturers recognizing this and trying to come to the U.S. somehow and entice founders to work with them. But there's a lot of growing pains right now because there is still communication barriers in many cases and cultural barriers. And I think it's kind of messy right now and still being worked out. But I think it'll sort itself out. And in a few years, we'll probably see a few successful firms who really know how to help founders with all those things. Or at the super early stage. Get to that first big production run, or small production run, but production run.
So I mean, finally, to round it out a little bit, we asked Madeline what types of resources are available out there. Where should new hardware founders start? And I think it was pretty straightforward advice. It's like, look at the people that are investing in the space and go follow them. Follow them on Twitter, on their blogs. There's a lot of people producing content and giving advice and just understanding, what it is that they're looking for and kind of what the state of the practice is. Like we said, it's not about going to Kickstarter and getting people to buy in an idea and then disappointing all of them a year later.
Right. It's, which happens like 90% of the time with hardware or something.
Right. So go in, actually get it figured out, hustle, maybe raise a little bit of capital to get that first prototype done, and then go and sell that story to an investor, and then go to Kickstarter and use that as a sales channel. If you even need to do that. I mean, going out and getting LOIs from, if it's a B2B product, you can just go out and get LOIs from other businesses and use that to sell your story.
Right, which is much better, right? You find a business who's like, yeah, I will buy a bunch of this thing.
Mhm.
They might even be more tolerant of a janky prototype,
Right.
and they see with the potential for it and say, okay, great, you do this, I'll buy 10,000 units in the first year. Like, okay, great.
Sure.
That's something you can take to investors. Yeah, I was gonna. What else was I gonna mention? There was something else that I forgot that you reminded me of, but now I can't remember what it was. Anyway,
That's all right. I think we'll leave it there and call it a Friday afternoon.
we can call it a Friday afternoon. Oh, I know. I think one other thing. If
Okay.
you're a first-time founder, hardware founder, even if you're not first-time, but if you're not first-time, you probably know this already. If you're a first-time hardware founder, she was really recommending, and we would really recommend getting advisors early on who have been through the process
Mm-hmm.
and been through the process recently, not 20 years ago,
Yep.
but have like recently done this, so they can just give you some guidance. Like, no, don't go do this thing, go do that thing.
Yeah.
Don't talk to those people, talk to this people. This is the kind of thing you need to worry about in this case. And Madeline, for us, Madeline is one of those people,
Yeah.
which is why she's mentoring a few of our startups.
Yeah.
But it's a good thing to find advisors like that who can really, really help you. And I would say they're way more important in hardware than they are in software, because every mistake is much more expensive.
Sure. And there's different unique strategies that you'll learn, like Jason from Eden, getting the deal with Home Depot was huge, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I don't know, I guess we could ask Jason this, but I imagine having a deal from Home Depot makes it a lot easier to raise money.
I think so.
So.
I think those were directly correlated, yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, have a great weekend. We just wanted to give you a quick update. We're really sad that we didn't get to have Madeline on here. She was fantastic.
Well, we did. You just didn't get to see her. So,
Michael, we still love you. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
I wasn't going to call him out again.
Oh, well, he was making that face.
Oh, he was. All right.
So. All right. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your Friday
It was
evening.
a random technical error that had nothing to do with a human.
That's true. Here,
Okay.
next Friday, about plus 3 hours or so.
No.
Come hang out with us.
Minus. Oh, plus 3 hours. Come and hang out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But next Friday at 10 a.m., we
that's
will
right.
remind you again to come that evening.
Yeah, we will. And we'll thank Magnolia Wellness again in
We
Oakland.
will thank Magnolia Wellness again. Thank you, Michael, for being a sport and helping us out again.
All right.
Even though you're only slated to have to do it once on Friday morning, so I appreciate it.
I'm having flashbacks of our Tahoe trip.
That was the worst. So actually, if it's any consolation, this was not the worst. The worst was when we recorded 3 times in a row, and
Yeah.
I kept tripping over the camera cord and unplugging the camera before it saved to disk. It was horrible.
I was progressively drinking the whole time.
Yeah,
so
it was really, really bad.
All right.
All right, bye
Cut.
everyone. Have a good weekend.
Cut out.